Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to episode 2 of Fun with Physics and Game Salad. And in this episode, we're going to add a couple new actor types as well as make it more interesting to play with. Since it's a tech demo, it's not just showing off our technology, it has to be fun as well so that we can demo it. Right? It has to be impressive. So, the first thing we're going to do is make a new actor for a circle actor. So let's hit the new actor sign. Call this circle, and we're going to import a circle graphic. So if I go to the media library and hit plus, you can just make a circle in Paint or look up a circle on Google Images or however you'd like to do it. I should have some game assets somewhere around here. Yeah, I have a white circle. White is the best color to choose just because when you choose a different color and Game Salad, it masks the alpha really well, so you get accurate colors. If you choose like a brown or something, for example, then it kind of you have to choose different blending options so it looks right, and that's kind of a pain. So we're just going to drag this white circle in here, and now it's a circle, and let's drag it into our game. Remember to go back to actors, and let's put a couple of these here. Whoa, they're huge. So we need to change the size real quick. So let's go to the circle actor, go to size, and what did we set our other ones to? 75? So we'll set these to 75. Actually, we'll make them 50 just to be different. But there's going to be a problem, and you're going to see what it is very shortly. Well, the problem is we haven't put it in the game yet. So let's toss a couple of these in here. Alright. Well, they fall through the floor. So we need to make it so that they collide with the floor. But now we're having a lot of different types of objects, and we're going to have to add a rule every time we add a new object, and that can be kind of a pain. So let's use tags. We'll go ahead and hit new tag, and we'll call these solids. Alright? And in every single one of our objects that needs to collide with something, we'll drag into solids. So the circle, the square, and the floor need to be collidable. So let's go to our floor and change our rule that says bounce when colliding with actor type square, because now we have circles. We're not just going to choose circle, we're actually going to choose actor with tag solids. That way it'll bounce when colliding with any of the solids. And we just need to do that for the square and the circle as well. So we'll go into actor with tag solids, and then for our circle we say collide actor with tag solids, and let's hit play. And these are bouncing around. They actually don't look too bad, just because they're currently bouncing, so they kind of look like they actually are balls. But when I turn this off, you'll see the issue that's actually happening here. So let's turn off bounciness, or at least turn it down to what everything else is at 0.1. And let's hit play. There we go. So you'll notice that these aren't actually pixel perfect. They're kind of being treated like squares, not like circles, and that's because they basically are squares and not circles, because our physics engine is basically using it as a square collider. So what we can do is we can change this from rectangle to circle, and now they're actually going to roll around freely, and you'll actually see, yep, these boxes are falling, they're rolling off of them. There's kind of an assembly line kind of thing going when they get pushed. And this is much more like how circles should act. They roll and they fall over, and they have proper colliders. Their collisions look normal. Good. But it's kind of hard to see the difference between all these actors since they're all white. And we can only spawn squares, which is kind of boring. So let's go into our control and let's start changing things up. Let's instead of spawning a square, we're gonna run a randomizer first. So when the mouse is down, what are we gonna do? Well, let's create a new variable in our attributes, in our actors. So we're going to go to add attribute, and we're going to make it a number. And we're going to call this shape. So it's currently set to 0, and if it's 0, we want it to spawn a square, or actually if it's 0, let's make it spawn a circle, because 0 is a circle and why not? And then if it's a 1, we spawn the square. So we have shape and it's set to 0. So when we click the mouse, we want it to change the attribute, change attribute. And let's actually delete the spawn actor for now so that we can just clear that out. And the change attribute, we're going to look for our shape one that we just made. So we're going to go to attributes. You're going to go to control. And then there it is, shape. And we can actually set that to 0 or 1. But we want it to be random every time we click. So we're going to write that. We'll just go to E for the expression editor. We'll go to functions and look for random. And you'll see that there's two variables in that. We have min and max. Those are the two arguments. So we want 0 to be the minimum because we have 0 is a circle, and then 1 is the max. So it's always be 0 or 1. Very binary of us. And that's it. Now we can make two new rules. Let's say rule inside of this, and we'll say if attribute control shape is equal to 0, then what we want it to do is spawn a circle. And where do we want it to spawn? Wherever our mouse is. So we're going to go to attributes, devices, mouse, position X, and attributes, devices, mouse, position Y. And remember last time we have to set it relative to the scene. That way boxes don't come out of everywhere else and look really weird. So now we need to set up another rule like this. We can actually copy and paste it and say if the shape is equal to 1, then spawn a square. Easy enough. So let's hit play. And now it looks like we're actually getting random items being spawned. But that's still not quite fun enough. Let's go into our square. And let's say I want this to be a random color every time. So let's go ahead and do change attribute. And we're going to change the square's color. And we have to change red, green, and blue. So let's do the red first. And we can change the red attribute from 0 to 1. So we'll just do random again. So if you go to the E, go to functions, go to random, and type in 0 to 1. Easy enough. And then we're going to copy this and paste it twice. And we're just going to change, oh, and the way I did that is I hit Control C to copy and Control V to paste. And then I'm just going to change each one of these to red, green, and blue. So square, color, green, and then square, color, blue. So now they should all come out random colors. So we have some black ones over here, green, Great. So we have some primary colors. It's not getting us all the in-between colors like 0.862 or something like that, but we're getting some variation. So let's do the same thing with our other objects. We can actually, we can only copy one at a time, but that's okay. Let's go to our circle, paste it. We got red, green, and now we just have to copy and paste blue. And again, I'm doing this with Control C and Control V. And there we go. But we still have to click a bunch of times, and that's kind of annoying too. So let's make this a little bit more fun. We'll go back to our control, and instead of being in a rule, which is going to happen only once every time you click, let's put this in a loop. So we'll go to behaviors, and we have a loop right here. So we'll go to loop, and we'll say, well, all the conditions are valid, and we need to check if our mouse button's down. So while the mouse button's down, loop it every frame of the game. So what do we want to loop? We want to loop everything in here. So we'll copy the change attribute over, and I'm going to use Control X to cut, and then Control V to paste. Actually, let's undo this. Okay, so we have our loop. I'm just going to drag it in the old-fashioned way. There we go. Alright, and we'll drag this rule in. If you need more room, you can always undock your backstage editor, and you'll get a lot more room to play with. So we want to move this in here, and then move this in here, and then we can delete this old rule. So now, instead of a rule, we're using a loop to check if we're pressing our button down. So we'll redock that and try it out. Look at that. That looks really fun. It happens really fast, but it's fun. So I can change how often these spawn, and I can also change the size of our objects. So if I go to our square and go to size, I can change this to 25 by 25 and make our circles 25 by 25. I mean, you can already see how fun and how interesting these physics can look. And you'll also notice that as you add more instances to your game, the engine itself is going to start getting slower. So if you don't want as many to spawn at once, you can also change in your control actor how many frames you want this to skip over. So if you set it to 10, it'll actually spawn a ton, and let me set it to 0.01. It doesn't work, so it doesn't quite work how I thought it was. My bad. But anyway, so one loop a frame, and you're going to get a ton of very cool physics-based actors. You can also do custom shapes with this engine. For example, a triangle, or even like, what do we have in our engine? What can I find? Well, we have our rubber ducky. Hopefully I could find our physics shape for that. I should be able to. So we have our rubber ducky. Now we need to go to physics and then select custom collision shape. And we can use physics body editor to make a custom collision shape for our objects. And I have another video where I show you guys how to do that. So I'll select collision data, and yep, we have ducky right here. Collision data imported. Now that it's in the game, we can drag it over here. That's huge, of course. So let's change the size to something more manageable, like 200 by 200. And we'll place it here. There we go. And we also need to make it a solid object. Yep. And we also need to make it not bouncy. So let's change our physics to bounciness 0.0 or 0.1. That's what we had it at. And you'll notice that these objects wrap around our ducky perfectly. You could even lift it up out of this mess using just a ton of physics objects. But yeah, custom collision shapes are possible and work actually really well, better than some other programs I've used. So it's not quite as optimized as GameMaker Studio 2 when you get to large numbers of instances, but it's definitely great in a pinch. So thanks so much for watching, and if you like this one, please make sure to leave a comment below so I'll know to make more. Alright, have a great day. Peace.